Hey Jim, thanks for sending me some more video. I looked over your video, Jim, and there's some comments I want to make to you here. I've already started some with my email. I've noticed a few things with your golf swing. Number one, an over-the-top action that I'm not sure how it started. Well, I got a good idea how it started, but we're going to try to put an end to that right away. And it involves the drill work that we've been doing. I know you've been practicing this early wrist set, and which is good, number one. Number two, if we're not doing it exactly the way we need to, it's going to lead to bad habits, and that's what I think I've seen to a certain extent in some of the most recent video. But before we get into that, let's look at your golf swing here, face on. First thing you see is a very big, pronounced weight transfer off the ball and through the golf ball. And I've had a lot of discussions with instructors about this because they know how I feel about weight transfer. And here's my take on weight transfer, and I think I've already mentioned this to you once. As far as I'm concerned, you can move back and forth as much as you want in the golf swing. Your center of gravity I'm talking about. I'm talking about this part right here in your body. You can move back as much as you want, and this way as much as you want, provided that you get back to impact in the right spot. Now, is that harder to do with a weight shift? Sure it is. It's also more beneficial if you do it right. Now let me get you to start here. I'm going to show you a couple things about this swing in particular. Here's your center of gravity, and it looks like it's right on top of the golf ball. That's perfect. That's how you're supposed to start, just like that. Now it looks like you're using maybe an 8 iron, 9 iron, 7 iron, somewhere in there. Let's look at your at the top of the swing. Now, is that too much weight transfer for a 7, 8, 9 iron? Probably. I don't quite tell my students to move that much, only because it's very difficult to get back to center from that far off with that narrow of a stance. But in any event, we're going to keep this rolling here. Let's go into impact. I'm going to show you something here that's really, really good. Here's your center of gravity again. It's a couple inches out in front of the golf ball, which is good. And let's get you to the finish here. Way out in front of the ball now. Now, the most impressive thing about all this is you did this in sequence up to impact and through impact, and that's hard to do. Sometimes people get to this finish position after the fact, after you've already made a poor transfer or a poor attack at the golf ball. You kind of fake a finish position. But this is all done in sequence, which is really good. And very level position here at the top of the swing. There is no reverse C in the back here. Everything's pretty level. Basically what I'm watching here is weight transfer off the ball and weight transfer pass through the ball. Again, with that iron in your hand, probably a little bit too much for my liking. But as long as you get back to impact, it doesn't matter. And it's exactly what you did in this particular swing. I'm not sure how well you hit that shot, but I probably tell you it was fairly solid. At the top of the swing, though, I would like to see, with that kind of an iron in your hand, maybe this much motion. Probably about there, and not way over here. The weight shift you're displaying for me in this swing is more of a driver weight shift, but in any event, nonetheless, you got back to your center. In fact, you got back to beyond center, which is really good, over to here. Alright, so I do see a very strong attempt at weight transfer. Now let's look at your swing back here in the middle of summer and see what's going on. You can see there's a lot less weight shift in that swing. Probably not enough on the one on the right, and probably a little too much on the left, but somewhere in there is a happy medium. The good news is you're working in the right direction. You're starting to work and accept the fact that weight transfer is a good thing. Now, let me show you something here for a second. Let's get you to the setup position. See this left heel? When I teach my young students and my middle-aged students, I try to tell them to keep their heel on the ground. When I deal with people that are a little bit older or a little less flexible or have back problems or lower back problems or whatnot, I don't teach them that. I tell them to get this heel up off the ground on the backswing. By doing that, It's much easier to turn these hips this way. And I say that for one reason and one reason only. Let's get you to the top. As you can see right here, your hips have maybe turned out to about that position. And that's quite frankly not enough hip turn. That gets you way out of sync. That gets your hips way ahead of your shoulders. At the same point, you can see where the shoulders are facing. The shoulders are out here. Your hips are down there. That's a lot of separation between the two. And we can easily fix that by getting this left heel to come up off the ground a touch. That's going to help allow that left hip to move this way and get you a little bit more in sync. All at the same time, it's going to help encourage a little bit move off the ball, little weight shift. So number one, let's get that heel off the ground, or at least try to work that into the swing. Now, again, let's get you back here. I'm going to bring up your down the line move for a second. Where's our new swing? Here we go. One thing I noticed in this new rendition of your swing is an over-the-top move. Over the top, again, is off plane. It leads to a very narrow forward swing, chunky shots, thin shots, pull hooks, high blocks, you name it. It'll help encourage it. And I'm going to venture on a limb and guess how this started. I'm going to say it probably started with one of my drills, the early wrist set drill. When you don't do this early wrist set drill, and I mean precisely, meticulously, consciously correct, it can lead to habits, bad habits. And that's kind of what I'm seeing here. I'm going to show you something here, right about there. There's your hands, obviously, and I just saw the club head in this position. That being said, the shaft is parallel to the ground. It's also pointing out that way. Okay, and that's just on the takeaway. Again, if you don't do this early wrist set drill properly, it leads to a whole host of bad problems. And that's what I'm seeing right now. Now let me get my rendition of this early wrist set drill. I want to show you something here for a second, Jim. Here's my hands at address. Look where my hands are when I got that club halfway back. They haven't moved. More importantly, look where the club head is. The club head and the hands are all in line. Alright? All pointing right down the target line. Target line being this thing right here. I think I got my shaft in the ground. I'm sorry, right here it is. Again, over on your end, right there's your shaft. So, as you can see, we need to get this shaft this way. That means this club head needs to be over here. Alright, now let's clear these lines out. By getting that club wrapped around your body early only leads to one thing, and that's over the top. Jim, let me see if I can get these things started up here. Spot there, we'll get it in slow motion. Yeah, maybe it won't get slow motion. Spot there. See what's going on here now. Spot there. See they're round and up there. Now watch what we do up here. There's your over move right there. Over to there, and of course back down into the swing. That's an over the top move there, Jim, that we have, and that's rectifiable, because you know when you first sent me a video this summer you didn't do it, so it's just a habit you got into. Not a big deal, something we got to rectify though for sure. Let me see if I can find your early stuff here. There we go. Let's get you over here on the right now. Same thing. Get you going there. Let's put a little faster move. Whoop. Let's get you going back here a little bit. There. There. You can see that's a pretty good swing plane right there, Jim. And now that's a probably an understatement. That's a great swing plane. You keep it right on plane. At least you did in early part of the summer. That's one of the things I noticed when you sent me video is I knew at one time in your life you were a really good golfer, and I'm still certain you're pretty good at this point in time in your life. But that swing plane is very much up and down the target line. It's up, back, and forth. I mean, it's a good swing plane, and back, up, and down the same plane. Whereas this one takes a little bit more scenic route, so to speak, and we got to eliminate that. And again, we can eliminate that with the early reset drill, doing it properly. Now, one thing I want to show you here, Jim. Let's the other drill, the anti-stuck drill. See you start, down, stop, and repump it. Now let me put that in slow motion. You do this drill about 75% correct, and we got to get you much more correct. We get to the top, you start coming down, then you stop and go back up and start back down again. There's a lot of down, up, down. When you do this drill, when you get to the top of your swing, you come back down. Hips do not move. These hips stay exactly where that. You come back down, you stop right here for a full second and a half, and then you do not recock, or as I call it, reload up. You start from this position and just keep going back down to the golf ball. Now let me get my drill up here that I have. Here it is. I want you to watch something. In fact, let's get me on the big screen here. I bring the club back, I bring it down and stop at 9 o'clock completely. I stop for a full second and change, and then I just go through. And I'm not reloading my hands. I don't come back up. Let's slow it down here. I stop right there. Now from there I'll wait a second or two, and then I keep going from that position. There. You have to be that meticulous when you do this drill. You absolutely have to come to a complete stop for a full second and a half. Do not recock upwards or reload again and then try to strike the golf ball. And that's a natural instinct you're going to have, but you got to resist doing that. The whole purpose of this drill is to allow these shoulders to unwind and the hands to come down without the hips taken off. That's how we sink back up again. At the top of the swing, you can see my my shoulders are here. I didn't think I was that flexible. I'm kind of impressed with myself. My hips are there. That's a big separation. With this drill, though, it teaches your body to bring the arms and shoulders down to that position without moving the hips. And that's basically what just happened. I've got these shoulders in this position now, and again, the hips haven't moved. They're that position. It just teaches your body that it's okay to not have these hips run out of focus here, or run out ahead and ruin the whole shot. And when I put your swing up, let me put you back up here again. I'll put the one up here from this summer. Where the heck are we? Right there. There's one thing I noticed. Big separation between the hips and shoulders. And that prevent getting stuck drill is going to be very, very important for you to get in sync. And I want you to work on this right here. See that left hip? Or left heel, I should say. I want you to get that thing going up. That's going to allow these hips to wind up just a little bit more, not much. But it's okay to let that left heel come up in the air, Jim, as long as we shift our weight. And that's something you're starting to do, this weight shift. And let me put B's up here again. Where's our new one at? There it is. Swing on the right, your new one. Big pronounced weight transfer there. Is it too much for a short club? Probably. But the fact is, you got a big weight transfer, and as long as you get back to impact with the center of gravity out in front of the golf ball, you're going to hit a good golf shot, or at least a solid shot. Direction-wise might suffer, but we got to get you shifting your weight, and that's what you're showing me right there. That's good.